Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another wonderful round brought to you by CRC, folks. This is the Virtual Velocity Season 3 Porsche Cup is what we're running, and we're running with none other than Calypso Racing Community, folks. Brought to you by the TTASA and the FIA. We're bound to have a wonderful time. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned, whether you've watched all of the races so far or you're just tuning in for the first time. It is a welcome to have you here with us. Without any further delay, let's take a look at the calendar, see where we've been and what we're up to. We've been to the Red Bull Ring, we've been to Sebring, we've been to Spa, we've been to Monza, and now we're running at Watkins Glen, the boot. Next up will be Road Atlanta to finish things off for this 6-round championship. We are running the Porsche Cup 992 with 40-minute sprint races. We are running fixed setups as well. What's up, Thor's Prodigy? Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for being here. Love to see you, my brother. Long time no see. We have prizes up for grabs. We have a Stream Deck, normal size, 15 button. We have a Stream Deck Mini, just the 6 button. And then we have a couple iRacing gift cards that we also will be given out towards the end of the season, all thanks to our community partners here at CRC. Thank you very much to Pappy's Fried Chicken for sponsoring the stream. Really appreciate all the love and support we've gotten so far, and the clock keeps on ticking forward. Let's take a look at the racing grid that we have set up, and we'll start looking at some of the race details here in just a moment as drivers go around and get their outlaps completed. Let's take a look at those details. Week 5 at Watkins Glen. Weather is 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 51% humidity. It is cloudy skies. 61 miles per hour will be the cross breeze that we're seeing. Couple keys to the race around this 3.36 mile racetrack will be braking smoothly. Smooth inputs will be crucial here to your race. The Cup car is less forgiving than a GT3 without the electronic aids. Sudden throttle, brake, or steering inputs can really upset the car. And one sim driver puts it simply, the key to speed with the Cup car is being smooth with all of your inputs. Make sure you get the car to rotate on throttle because the car is rear engine, can be tail happy. Use throttle adjustments to help the car turn rather than overpowering the front suspension. Watching your brake balance with a couple of downhill braking zones and a couple of uphill braking zones. You're going to have to modulate your brake balance. Keeping the brake temps in the proper band is going to be critical. Overuse in early laps could lead to fade later on in the race. Adjust your brake bias as needed throughout your stint. Couple of facts about Watkins Glen. We've already said it's 3.4 miles or 5.5 kilometers long. It was founded in 1956, has been unchanged since 1971. We are located in Watkins Glen, New York, US of A. We got 11 corners, 6 to the left, 5 to the right, with 141 feet of elevation change around the Glen. So far, it's all up to Shahinder Singh out in P1 with a 148.43 on his opening lap. Nigel Pollard in P2. Lewis Hamilton in P3. But we do have the likes of Declan Daniel, Peter Arundel, and Jaden Harrison running out on laps right now. So keep an eye on them. Shahinder not doing well through Sector 1. Was purple through Sector 2. But Declan Daniel steals those sectors away with some major improvements. About to finish up his lap now, coming through the final bend. Where does Declan Daniel find himself up at the top of the charts? Potentially so, but no. With an invalid lap time being set, he will not be up at the top of the charts for Declan Daniel. Jaden Harrison gets a banker in a 150.65. Currently, Nigel Pollard rocking a beautiful Gulf livery Well, not Gulf livery. That's a Martini livery. Running well through sectors 1 through 4 so far. Even pulled out a purple sector 2. Time to beat is a 1:48.427. Let's see if Nigel can pull this one out of a hat. When he gets to the line, what does Nigel Pollard have? That'll be good enough for third position, a 1:48.92. Not the greatest lap we've ever seen, but good enough for third position right now. Benson Sunday running in second place currently, trying to improve that, but won't be able to do that on this attempt. Jaden Harrison, though, is looking to improve, gets a green sector stolen away from him by Declan Daniel, the number 31 driver. But the 604 is improving on their personal times as they approach the back half of the racetrack, coming out of the boot and out of the tongue into the final 2 corners. And out of the final corner, it looks like Jaden Harrison is definitely on for a lap. That'll be a 1:48.47. Good enough for third, as Declan Daniel right behind sets a 1:48.25. 3 minutes left in this qualifying run. Plenty of time for the drivers to get a couple of more laps in. Let's check in with Monet. The number 38 driver is currently in 6th place, and I'm not seeing any times. That's because he is on an outlap right now. Let's switch back over to Nigel Pollard. The Martini Porsche coming through the final corner in just a few moments' time. The driver looks like he has got this beast wrestled into submission. The Porsche 992 is a very tricky car to drive around Watkins Glen. 1:49.4 turns into a 1:48.4. That last attempt. Still holding on to 4th position right now. Sahinder Singh, 1:48.4 as well, right in front. Just nearly 1,000th of a second separating Sahinder from Nigel Pollard. Currently, Declan Daniels out there to improve, and so is Jaden Harrison. Let's check in with them. Jaden Harrison's going to cross the line first amongst the duo right now, and it looks like they're trading purple sectors right now. Jaden Harrison squanders the 4th sector, though, with a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 13, it looks like. Now settles into a rhythm a little bit coming out of the final corner. Declan Daniel does the same thing through sector 4. No improvements to be found for either driver right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I am. Jaden Harrison with a 1:47.7 just in the nick of time. Declan Daniel 75 thousandths away from that pole position time, even on that last lap. It'll be the end of their qualifying run. Monet going to be the next driver to cross the line along with Peter Arundel. Arundel hasn't actually set a lap time yet. We need to keep an eye on this. Will he get an additional bonus lap, or will this be the end of his P2 running so far? Let's talk about the championship standings for just a brief second. It is Jaden Harrison with 87 points in front of Peter Arundel with 81 points. Declan Daniel in third with 79. Andrew Marsan with 68. Benson Sunday was 59, 55 to Adam Pinero. Dominic Charles in 7th, Scott Pinero in 8th, Michael Ross in 9th, Amir Hossein in 10th, Shahinder Singh in 11th, Monet Dupoy in 11th, Oilen Ochoa in 13th, Matthew Lazari in 14th, Lewis Ramilton in 14th, tied with Matthew Lazari. 16th goes to Nigel Pollard, Emmanuel Ramirez in 17th. Peter Arundel was able to get across the line just in the nick of it, and he is going to go for an additional bonus lap. He is improving through sector 1 currently. Really good showing from all the drivers. We have less than a second separating the top 5 right now. That'll lead to some spicy battles, especially up at the front between Jaden Harrison and Declan Daniel, separated by less than a tenth of a second. Further down the order, we have Sahinder Singh and Nigel Pollard, separated by nearly a tenth, or a thousandth actually. Benson Sunday in 5th. Hoyland is actually Hillon. Thank you very much there, One Punching Man. Glad to see you back in the chat. Glad to have you joining us one more time. Appreciate all the love and support. Let's see Peter Arundel's time when he crosses the line. This is his final crack at it as well. Does he have enough to set a really good time? It'll be close. 1:47.7 is the time to beat. I don't think he has it in the bag. Peter Arundel 1:50.2. Best lap and last lap is all he was able to set, unfortunately. We're standing by as we wait for the results and the grid to become set. We're standing by while the grid gets set, folks. Thank you very much for joining us, One Punchin'. I'm sorry you were unable to join the race, but hopefully you're able to enjoy the stream at the very least. Martin the Flagman vigorously waving that checkered flag there across the line in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Again, thank you very much to Pappy's Fried Chicken, home of Brian's Fricken Chicken. Really appreciate all the support that and the endorsement that we were able to get to produce this stream. So thank you very much, and make sure you support Pappy's Fried Chicken. We do have the qualifying results that we will show here in just a second. Jaden Harrison with a 1:47.7, then just 3/4 of a tenth back. Declan Daniel, Sahinder Singh, 6/10 off the mark, 7/10 off the mark. Nigel Pollard, Benson Sunday in 5th, Monet Deploy in 6th, Peter Arundel in 7th, Lewis Hamilton in 8th, and Michael Ross in 9th. And someone looks like they jumped the gun really early. And was that a Calypso Racing driver from further back down the grid? Jaden Harrison going to wheel with, I believe that would be Sahinder Singh. Now he's wheel to wheel with Declan Daniel. It's all looking neat and tidy coming through turn 1, but Declan Daniel inherits the lead. Sahinder Singh in 3rd place right now, but we'll stay glued to the battle up at the front, the tip of the spear between Jaden Harrison and Declan Daniel. Coming up the hill through the S's, it's all neat and tidy, but will it be that same way into the first chicane? Side by side is not the way we wanted to start this race, but they managed to fend themselves off very cleanly for now. Sahinder Singh definitely did rejoin the track, and he's all calm, cool, and collected now. Peter Arundel has a black flag, and that'll be a penalty for jumping the start, I can only imagine. And he is up 3 positions tonight on the good. Let's check out Nigel Pollard as he tries to get by Peter Arundel right now, the driver of the Martini liveried car, chasing down the Calypso Racing driver out in front of him currently. And it looks like we did lose Sahinder Singh for good now, and he is down at the back of the pack. Unfortunate circumstances there. Jaden Harrison separated by 3/10 of a second from Declan Daniel currently. The battle up at the front is getting a little spicy. Let's switch over to that and take a look at how the drivers are faring coming out of the final corner. For the first time tonight, a couple puffs of smoke leading into the penultimate corner, meaning that some drivers have locked up their brakes. And there goes Peter Arundel to serve that black flag penalty that should be a drive-through penalty, which will force him back to the back of the grid. 156.0 to 156.073. Nothing separates the two leaders right now. Jaden Harrison and Declan Daniel up the hill through the S's flat out as can be. This is where Jaden Harrison might decide to pounce on Declan, as Declan's on the optimal line. Jaden's on the inside line. It's going to be who's going to break first. Declan breaks a little bit first, yields that position for just a brief moment in time, trying to snap back around the long way on the outside line. Can't find the daylight to make it work there. Declan Daniel go for a move into the toe. I don't think so. Not on this occasion at the very least. He was close enough to make a lunge there, but didn't quite go for it. Jaden Harrison trying to shake off the slipstream from the car behind and not give him any running advantage. And Declan Daniel doesn't bark up that tree, just follows the racing line and closes down the gap on his race pace alone. Back down to 0.2 of a second and closing now as they approach the penultimate corner. They are still nose to tail. Into the final corner, glued to each other's bumpers. Declan Daniel goes for a little over-under move and forces the side-by-side down the front straightaway, and they are completely side-by-side now. And that'll be Declan going for the move towards turn one. Jaden Harrison has to hit the brakes a little bit longer than he expected to. The 604 falls back behind Declan into P2. Now Jaden's on the outside line and Declan's on the inside line, forces Jaden to go a little bit deeper and not turn in so quickly into the bus stop chicane. Makes that one end up working for himself. Lewis Ramilton is into pit lane. Not sure what happened there, but I believe he might be out of the race. Sandra Singh also out of the race right now. Peter Arundel still running in this event in 7th position, trying to claim any points that he possibly can. 22 seconds off the back of Benson Sunday right now. Biggest gainer on the track right now will be Michael Ross, up from 9th place into 5th. That's a gain of 4. Monet Deploy also gaining 2 positions on the evening. Nigel Pollard's up 1. Declan Daniel up 1. Closing down the gap, Jaden Harrison through turn 1 closes it down to nearly 1 tenth. Up the hill through the S's is where you're going to have to back out of it, though, and that's not the optimum place. You want to back off the throttle. You want to carry all the speed that you possibly can flat out up the hill. Jaden Harrison giving Declan a little bump draft there for good measure. Coming into the bus stop chicane, there's really only one optimum line to take. Peter Arundel actually snatches the fastest lap of the race, a 1:48.62 that last time around. Peter Arundel is actually only 4.4 seconds off the back of Michael Ross. We expect to see a battle there within the next lap or two. This might be the first time that we hear a joyous interview with Jaden Harrison. He's getting the race that he wanted all along. A stiff and fierce battle for P1 with Declan Daniel currently. The 604 trails behind the number 31, who holds on to the faster lap that last time around. 148.7 to a 148.8 on that occasion. Slipstream being mighty and effective up the hill through the S's, down the top of the hill into the first chicane. Jaden having to back out there, backs off to nearly 0.3 of a second. You can definitely tell that he's pushing his car a little bit harder than he'd like to right now. Coming down into the heel of the boot. Still nose to tail between the two drivers, trading away lap time in certain parts of the track with each other. I know, Shahinder. I am so sorry, brother, that happened to you. A big disconnect. We'll chalk that up to your engine blowing up or something along those lines. Coming down in towards the first corner, it's Declan Daniel leading over Jaden Harrison, but for how long will this last? We're already 9 minutes and 30 seconds into this race by the end of my spiel, and we'll have another 25 minutes remaining of green flag racing here. Not including the pit stop that the drivers will have to take, which will take about roughly 50 seconds or so. So expect to see them into the pits for about a minute. Switching over to the Arundel-Michael Ross battle. Arundel nip and suck up the hill through the S's, finds his way by right before the chicane. Now Peter Arundel has got Benson Sunday up the road around 18 seconds to catch up with. And he's running about a second or about half a second quicker currently than Benson. So we'll see that gap come down maybe by the end of the race, but Peter Arundel should have to take another pit stop towards the end of this one, and Benson will really have to throw it away to make that one end up working. Declan staying extremely defensive towards the inside line. Jaden's trying to find a way by as well, but can't find any gap there that was produced by Declan to allow the opportunity to that inside line. The number 31 doing a good job of driving defensive, but also driving swiftly. 148.5 being his last lap around. Top speed of 268 up the hill and into the chicane. Top speed for Jaden Harrison, 265, with his last lap being 48.56. Still nose to tail coming down the start finish straight. 148.5 to 148.9. Nearly nothing separating the two drivers currently as they enter turn 1. Turn 2, the S's looking about the same distance between them, just about a 10. I imagine Declan's going to do the same thing, cover off the inside line, force Jaden to go the long way around the outside this time around. And he sure is forcing Jaden Harrison into the in-optimum line. Jaden tries to go for a switchback over under, but Declan covers that one off as well. Spicy battle here at the tip of the spear, the sharp of the knife. It has been relentless for the past 14 minutes and 30 seconds. But when will one of these drivers end up cracking, showing their weakness, or making a critical mistake, or will they? Will it stay like this to the bitter end? Will one driver decide to fuel save over the other? Has Jaden Harrison been playing with his food this entire time and ready to unleash his full potential at any moment? The 604 stays behind the number 31 of Declan Dano, mounts the curbs coming out of turn 1's exit. Jahinder definitely says, or definitely believes, that he's definitely playing with his food right now. Enjoying the battle while it lasts. Extremely difficult braking zone coming into the tongue of the boot there. Downhill, slightly off camber. Easy to lock up the brakes coming into the boot section, or into the chute section, I should say. Jaden makes a sneaky little look to the inside line coming in towards the heel. Doesn't leap into that position just yet. A little too far back to make that one work. Resting at around 0.3 of a second right now. Closes down the gap pretty significantly into the final two corners. Jaden again trying to go for that switchback over under maneuver into the bus stop chicane. Just not working out in his favor. Aaron Dell has closed down the gap on Benson now to 0.3 of a second. Let's check out the Aaron Dell and Sunday battle on this Thursday evening. Running up the hill, Peter Arundel is already by Sunday. That's a move done and dusted. Nothing else to say about that. Peter Arundel still holds on to the fastest lap of the race currently. 148.11 compared to the 148.45 from the drivers in the lead. But I believe that's because Declan Daniel and Jaden Harrison are in this battle, and Declan is having to drive pretty defensively currently. Otherwise, Declan Daniel and Jaden Harrison could potentially snatch away that fast lap of the event. 148.7, 148.7 for the leaders. Quick glimpse back at Nigel Pollard, the driver in third position right now. He's 7.6 off the good from Jaden Harrison. Monet Duploy. Oh, and a pass on the grass goes Jaden Harrison. He went for that cheeky little look. Declan, though, covers that one off. Doesn't even look in his rear view in a defensive manner. As I was saying, Nigel Pollard, 7.7 off the good from Jaden Harrison right now. 7.8 off the leader. Monet Deploy chasing down Nigel Pollard to snatch away that podium position and change that 2 gain next to his name to 3 gain potentially. Just breached the halfway point of this event, folks. We have 20 minutes remaining in this event. Jaden Harrison knows he wants to get one done before the pit stop takes place. Again, squirming and fighting his way by Declan Daniel has seemingly been a challenge this entire event so far. Perhaps he might have to go for an overcut strategy to get by Declan Daniel. There it is. Jaden Harrison has the overspeed down and towards the chicane. Will he make it work? No. Declan Daniel carries a ton of speed in the entry and mounts the curbs both on entry and exit, and that will be position still going the way of Declan Daniel. Pit stop call for Benson Sunday, Monet Deploy, and Peter Arundel, Michael Ross. Showing that he had a pit lane time, but potentially not sticking. Benson is back out onto the racetrack. Now, when will the leaders decide to enter pit lane? Now is definitely not the opportunity to do so, as Declan Daniel and Jaden Harrison both decide to stay out of the pits for now. And you can see in the far distance Nigel Pollard coming out of the final quarter just as the leaders got to turn 1. Both of these drivers extremely comfortable with each other. They say that they train together and drive together fairly often, so it looks like they're both comfortable with the amount of moves that they're making under the braking zones. Jaden Harrison squirmed and wiggled just a little bit going into the bus stop chicane. Now the gap's opened up to around 0.4 of a second between the two. The biggest gap that Declan's had on Jaden Harrison this entire event. Otherwise, they've been glued stern to rear. And Declan blinks first, comes down pit road here at the 23-minute mark. That unleashes Jaden Harrison to try to get the overcut strategy done. Nigel Pollard also staying out currently is inherited P2. Peter Arundel running in 4th is up 3 positions from where they started this event. Make that 3rd position for Peter Arundel, and Declan Daniel pulls out with an 11.67 long pit stop and a pit lane time of 42 seconds, making that a 54 second pit stop. Jaden Harrison running in 1st position. Now, will the 604 driver come down pit road or try to go for an additional push lap to make it to the end of this event? It looks like he set himself up for an additional push lap, trying to get as much of that overcut working for himself as possible. Jaden Harrison snatches away the fast lap of the race. 1:47.995. Fast lap, last lap. Really pulled out some of these fast times right when he needed to. Declan is going to have to put the hurry up and go on to keep running with Jaden Harrison after he makes his pit stop. Of course, barring any mistakes out of Jaden. Nigel Pollard into pit row. That'll be a 43.65 for Nigel Pollard with 12.15 of service. Fairly slow pit stop in comparison to the rest of the field. Michael Ross into pit lane. $12.77 being his service time and $44.95 being his pit lane time. There it is. Jaden Harrison finally comes down pit road. Now, where is Declan Daniel on the racetrack? Coming through the heel now. That's have to be a very good lap from Declan. Peter Arundel into the pits again. Jaden Harrison on his way out of pits. Should remain in the lead of this race for sure and inherits around 2 seconds of a gap between himself and Declan from behind. About a second of that was gained in the pit lane time and about another half second gained in service time as well. Good call there, Sink. Peter Arundel snatches away the fast lap of the race with a 47.9. Now, where was this pace during the qualifying session when it mattered? Peter Arundel got thrusted backwards into the pack after a early jump start and had to take a penalty right off the start of the event. Let's check in with Monet, Deploy, and Nigel Pollard's battle because they're getting pretty spicy here. The battle for the best of the rest on the podium. Down to just half a second between Monet and Nigel up at the front. Nine drivers have entered this race. Only 7 will take the checkered flag with just under 9:30 remaining to go. Couple of tidbits and trivia for you about Watkins Glen. The first official race here was held in 1948 and was a street race on public roads, making it one of the earliest road racing venues in the United States. The track features several iconic turns, including the S's, a series of fast-flowing curves that challenge drivers and thrill spectators. That'll be turn 2, 3, and 4. The elevation changes here. The course has significant elevation changes with a total rise and fall of over 100 feet, 141 to be exact, adding to its complexity and the excitement. Most of that happening from the plummet from the start finish straight down the hill towards the bottom of the S's and up the hill, up the back straightaway. From the outer loop, you plummet down into the chute, up into the toe, back down into the heel, start it all over again. Watkins Glen hosts a diverse number of events. In addition to NASCAR, Watkins Glen hosts a wide range of racing events, including IMSA Sports Car and the Finger Lakes Wine Festival. And of course, course, we are in the Finger Lakes region of New York State. The area around Watkins Glen is famous for its beautiful lakes, gorges, and wineries, making it a very popular tourist destination year-round. Monet closing down on Nigel Pollard. Gap is just 0.3 between the two of them. Nigel, fear is driving him right now. Monet driving with his heart on his sleeve as he pushes a little wide through the penultimate corner. May have even gotten track limits there potentially. 149.39 compared to 149.23. Gap is just slinking back and forth between these two. Peter Arundel crosses the line with a 148.5 that last time around. 8.2 seconds behind the battling duo that we're on looking right now. Hey, closing down the gap on Nigel Pollard. Separated by just 1/10 of a second through that final corner. Now, where does he go for a move? The long way around the outside at turn one's awfully spicy, and they're going to touch. Monet gets a little squirrely whirly there after that barge, and the 38 goes deep and wide at turn one. After the hip check sent him off into a lockup going down the hill towards one. That'll allow Nigel Pollard to escape with his life. 1 second up the road now with just 4 minutes remaining on the clock in just a few moments' time. Monet is not done challenging for that podium position just yet. 1 second turned into 9/10 real quick. And you're right, Peter is catching the battling duo down to 4.5 seconds between the two of them. But with just 3 minutes left to go, it might be a little too late at this point in time, unless these two continue to battle it out and slow each other down towards the final wickets. Driver of the day has to go out to Peter Arundel. Didn't have a great qualifying, jump-started the race as well, and is still managing to come home in P5 currently. I talked about this a lot, and I'll talk about it some more. The mental fortitude to keep making mistakes like that, but then to have a good, clean race and put it to the back of your mind is huge. Closing down the gap even further is Monet, and Peter Arundel obviously closing down the gap himself. Was 4.5 seconds this time a lap ago. Now just under 4 seconds separates himself from P4. Gap at the front has separated itself quite nicely. Jaden Harrison and Declan Daniel separated by 3.1 seconds. Nigel Pollard 18 seconds back from there. Monet 9/10 off of Nigel Pollard. Peter Arundel now 3.6 off the back. And we will get one bonus lap here, folks, as the clock is about to strike midnight. One remaining lap left to go. Barney the flagman waving that white flag quite aggressively here at Watkins Glen tonight. Nay closing down the gap one more time through the bus stop chicane, giving it all he can, down to half a second. But it's all been up to these gentlemen up at the front. Jaden Harrison leads this event and will accept the checkered flag in P1 tonight. The 604 takes the win here at Watkins Glen. Declan Daniel in P2. Right behind will be Nigel Pollard and Monet Duploy, battling for third and fourth currently. Oh no, and Monet has a slip, trip, and fall coming out of the final corner, and that'll be Peter Arundel actually coming home in P4 in front of Monet, who just made a brief mistake, locked it up coming into the final corner, and that'll be it for him. Benson Sunday in P6, followed by Michael Ross in P7. Stand by, folks, while we grab people for interviews. We'll be right back in just a few moments' time. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you very much for sticking around. We'll be right back.
Oh, sorry, we joined you wrong. It's supposed to be cool down. Who's first? I'll hop out. Sorry.
Yep, we can hear you. Yeah, well, first of all, let me say thanks to CVV3 for putting on this event. Badly out of practice. I've not had much seat time for a bit, so this was not expected at all. And of course, I want to express my apologies to Mon because I kind of squeezed him a little bit too much there on that penultimate lap. So other than that, it was just to maintain the pace. I couldn't keep up with those two guys up front, so just to do my own race, manage the gap as best as I can, try to preserve the tires, but that was very, very difficult. But overall, a fun race. Can't complain too much.
Amazing race with an amazing result. Was this your first event with Calypso Racing this season?
No, I was in the very first one, but just to make up numbers, didn't practice, did nothing, never bought the car like a few hours before kind of thing, so just jumped in just to see what it's about. So, been ill for a couple weeks, so missed quite a few races, and yeah, I'm back. Hopefully, I can continue this performance.
Hopefully you can. Glad to have you back with us, Nigel. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank or anybody that you'd like to mention before I let you go?
No, just again, really appreciate what the CRC team is doing and putting on this activity. It's really fun, well organized, well planned out, well thought out. So just hope the guys keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us, Nigel. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Let's talk to Mr. Declan Daniel, the driver who went side by side with Goliath Jaden Harrison for a majority of this race. How do you feel?
Oh, that was fun. The first half of the race was really, really fun. I think the most fun I had this series so far. Unfortunately, I almost died on my outlap after the pit stop and lost too much time. So I didn't expect to come out ahead of him, but I expected to be closer than I was. So, unfortunate, but it was really fun the first half.
To be fair, Jaden also had gained about a second and a half just in the pit stop cycle alone. The guy has mastered his pit stop, so that 2-second gap was there.
I think he was saving behind me the whole time, lifting into like the bus stop and stuff.
What a cheeky guy. It's like he's a Calypso racing driver or something.
He does his thing.
Yeah. The aliens will do alien things, right?
Yep.
Well, you had a lot of fun tonight. You got to feel good about your result. Coming home in P2, I think this might secure you for P2 in the championship even. You've gained a good haul of points over the past couple of races. Going into the final race of the season, any thoughts?
No, I just looking forward to it. Road Atlanta is one of my favorite tracks. So I've never driven this car there, but I mean, a track is a track. I love the track. So hopefully I'm not surprised in a negative way. But looking forward to it. Looking forward to fighting with Jaden again. I hope we have a bigger turnout. We had a lot of guys who unfortunately couldn't make it this race. So this is one of the smallest fields we've seen, I think.
I think so. Throughout this entire championship, this was one of the smaller grids that we've seen, but still with some exciting battles to see nonetheless.
Yeah, but hopefully for the finale, we'll try to hype it. And with our Caribbean neighbors and stuff, and see how many people. We see if we can get everybody who signed up actually in that one. That should be epic.
That would be absolutely epic. Thank you very much for doing that promotion, Declan. and we'll talk to you next week. But before I let you go, is there anybody that you'd like to mention or anybody that you'd like to thank?
No, the Jaden for not killing me, for letting me race. He wasn't overly aggressive. He just did everything right there, and just capitalized on when I gave him clear air. So yeah, props. Good job.
Right on, brother. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, Declan.
Never. Easy.
And last but not least, we're going to talk to Mr. Jaden Harrison, who was on the back foot for the first half of the race, battling with Declan Daniel, but did a good job during his pit stop cycle to come out on top. Jaden Harrison, how does it feel?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it must feel pretty good. Now, what was your strategy sitting behind Declan for that first half of the race?
Well, I was fuel saving a lot, and Slipstream was very strong here. I mean, it's always strong at Watkins for whatever reason, but I fuel saved a lot of fuel just not being flat. But I was struggling to kind of get past him. Sometimes I backed out because it could have been dangerous, but we could have maybe made it. But he was like a moving chicane. He was defending very well that race.
Yeah, he sure was. There were no egregious moves, but he was just putting his car at the right spot at the right time and unallowing you to get by. It looked like it was very tricky out there, but it makes sense that you were fuel saving through that entire first stint. Now, talk to us about your pit stop strategy. Did you plan on going short on that fuel strategy?
Well, no, because I didn't want to really risk getting into the traffic. But I saw Declan going short, and I was a little confused because this track is pretty short. You might get traffic, so yeah. I mean, I took a little more fuel than I thought, but I think Declan had a little oopsie on the outlap, and he didn't get the undercut that he would wanted.
Yeah, unfortunately, he did not get the undercut that he was looking for, but you made the overcut end up working in your favor there.
Yes.
Now, is there anybody that you'd like to thank or anybody that you'd like to mention, Jaden, before I let you go?
Yeah, that's everybody today was, pretty quick and on point. I think this was one of the best races. Hopefully next week it's good again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining me, Jaden. Appreciate your time as always. And we'll talk to you next week, sir.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's been a pleasure to be your host. As always, I am Sagar Bakshi, aka The Real High. Love the support in chat from everybody. Thank you very much for staying tuned, whether you're watching this live or in the future. Really appreciate it. And we'll stay tuned for the final race at Road Atlanta coming up next week. Same time, same place, and prizes will be given out at that point in time. So make sure you're here for it. Again, as always, folks, please stay safe out there. Have a great night. Bye-bye.